Not sure how to look at it. Do you already call Game Eyes the favorites in this group? Because I believe that Impact Gaming and Supernova can still do quite a bit right here. Especially putting my hopes in Impact Gaming, because about Supernova I already know a little bit and I know that they could do fine. So I'm not gonna like favor the favorites. But for me, Impact Gaming is gonna be a little bit of an underdog, and hopefully they can do well right here. Just taking a look at their favorite champions right here. Want to know if they're the carry type of guys, or if they're going to be the siege type of guys. And judging by the heroes that are playing, possibly the top laner is once again going to try to be the dominant one. And we could already see in Group B how important it was to have a good top laner. Digital Paradox lost the game solely of their top laners' losses in the top. Yeah, in the top. So I'm saying a lot of top lane right now, but that's exactly what happened right there. So having Fiora,
You're
Rumble,
just
Kennen,
stressing that importance there.
yeah, having Fiora, Rumble, Kennen as your top champions, all of these champions want to dominate. All of these champions are going to be important in the team fights. Well, Fiora can be very, very strong on the split push. Same for Kennen, though I don't believe it's going to be the attack speed build. But yeah, that looks quite nice. For the mid lane, also LeBlanc, Oriana, Victor, nothing too unusual right here. But for the support, it's Jana, Karma, and Nami apparently. They would like to play right here. So only Karma from the regular pool of champions that we do get to see right here. If we see the Nami or Jana, I'm going to be delighted. And especially if they're good. But this far, we're not seeing any Zaya bans nor picks. And this could still be the hidden dangerous champion that they will not want to give up on.
Yeah, still taking another look back. Let's do a little recap of what we've just seen. So I'd like to talk about that composition because it was sticking a little bit out from Euronics Gaming here. So they had Tom Kench, they had Karma and Nautilus, and it did not really prove to be that viable because they were maybe lacking some of that damage. Or do you think that the composition did not really play that much of a big role here in the first match?
Yeah, I don't think the composition was the real fault behind them losing it right here. For instance, Nautilus was not doing so well in the top lane, but he did not end up being a burden at all. He was still keeping up quite fine. In fact, Kha'Zix was ahead, and he actually proved to be a problem. So just the inactivity from the jungler. Yesterday, we could see a top laner, the Giratina guy, who just couldn't do a lot for his team. He could not actually stay alive on the lane. He's given up a lot of farm to the enemy laner. And after all, it's a top laner. So a role that you don't see for a little portion of the game. Then later on, he's supposed to have some good, impactful teleports. On that Shen, he would still have the possibility to use Stand United on somebody and help out. But on jungler, when you're supposed to be involved in the game from the very first minute until the very end, you're supposed to help out the other laners that are not doing well. Imagine that Kha'Zix showing up in the top lane, bullying Jace a little bit. Jace is definitely has less survivability than a Nautilus does, and just one gank out there would have been enough to tip it over in the top, and Nautilus would be winning. In the bottom lane, I feel like going for the Karma, Nautilus, and Tamkens, you've got to have strong jungle and strong AD carry. So helping out that Caitlyn would have been a really good idea, but we don't not see much of that happening. So with Kha'Zix not showing up at all in the team fights, with Caitlyn not getting any help, so not really snowballing at all, they indeed turned out to have no damage. The composition was not bad at the core, the execution was just bad.
Yeah, taking a look at the picture of the group now, so we see Game Miser advancing to that winners match and Euronics falling down to the losers match, but they're not eliminated yet, so they're still able to maybe grab the victory here in the group stage. And I hope that they will at least make it through to that losers match and advance to the deciders game. But next up, Impact Gaming against Supernova. You were already saying that Supernova, they're a little bit of a favorite here. Impact Gaming from Italy maybe have to redeem some of that fame that, outplayed, was really disappointing us in the first group day. And let's see this game right after, yeah, the 10-minute break that we just need in order to get ready. So what else is there to say about Impact Gaming and Supernova? We've talked a lot about the junglers now. You've focused a little bit on the top lane. Something that didn't really have an impact so far in the group stage were those mid laners that did not really carry the game. We saw it yesterday. There were like big Syndras fed and killing a lot of champions there. But what are we to expect here?
It's hard to say because just a while ago we did get to see a Karma in the middle lane who's not supposed to carry for the most part unless she actually gets snowballed a lot, and an Aurelion Sol who, for the advantage that his team had, I don't think he was as impactful as we'd imagined. He did not just fly in and demolish everybody. So yeah, he was there when they needed him. Sometimes he was missing the stuns, and sometimes was just not doing enough. But at the end of the day, was strong enough to just pull through. And yesterday we did get to see Illusion in the middle a couple of times. And then we go back to a lot of LeBlanc bans that we had yesterday. We already had a LeBlanc ban today, so there's a possibility that that's going to be repeated. And still, Citra is always in the games. She's always open, and there's a big possibility that somebody's finally going to grab her. But then on the other hand, what to counter it? Is an Orianna going to be enough? Is it going to be once again a good idea to actually go for a champion like Orianna? Because if she gets overwhelmed a little bit, she's going to be really useless with that Syndra going to the side lanes. Orianna is going to be still not helpful at all. And yesterday we did get to see some Oriannas picked who were not even able to wave clear properly. So it's always hard to judge for teams of a level that you don't necessarily know if they will do well on the lane itself, if they will do well at the basics.
Yeah, definitely. So let me just use that little bit of time we got left before jumping into the next game. So, guys, if you got anything to say about our show, if you have anything that we could improve, or maybe something that you explicitly like about it, just let us know. You can tweet us everything that you want. You could also use the Twitch chat if you want to. Just let us know. Do you think that maybe Euronics Gaming Day are still able to make it out of the group stage, or are they just showing us that it's not quite enough with that second squad to really make that happen? So it would be definitely cool to have some reactions from you there. And also on Impact Gaming Supernova, who are you going to think that, who's going to be the winner of the next match? Because so far, taking a look at the bets that are placed, we see it is quite even. We see a slight advantage here for Supernova, but I also guess that a lot of people just lost a ton of money as we had a big sum being betted here on Euronics Gaming.
Yeah, definitely. Euronics did make it quite interesting. Losing that matchup, getting a lot of betties for some people. Well, for some one person. I'm looking at you, Phil, right now. Yeah, the bets might be some upsets right here, and it's good to see that because on Group A and on Group B, we did not really have much of a chance for other teams to say something. Doran's Alpha, yeah, they stepped up, they tried to battle it out against Alzec status, but they dropped off after the early game. Here from Euronics, I don't see it being such a big problem. I think they can still pull through. Just make the jungler more of a jungler. Really, it's one of his tasks to simply just gank for his teammates, to be useful in the game, to show up. He's playing a Kha'Zix. It's not a completely farm champion. He's supposed to be an assassin, so he needs to take part in these kills. He needs to have the kills, him farming up a lot. doesn't really help so much. But there I could also see in the chat some people mentioning the Ivern ban, possibly that being his strongest champion, and possibly, of course, fitting his playstyle a lot more if he would be playing the Ivern. Also, stealing the buffs away then would have been impactful enough to affect the enemy team. But just like this, with the Kazakhs just sitting in his own jungle, not interacting with the enemy team, not interacting with his own team, was not enough. So next time, there is a possibility that he'll get the Ivern, but then also, as I'm saying that, there is a huge chance that he won't again, because simply banning it out might rule out one person already out of the game. Then when you're playing 5v4, it's so much easier. So Game Miser will probably do that next time if they face off against Euronics again. But then my question is, can Euronics come up on the spot with some champion that will fit their jungler? Because, I mean, Ivern is not the only farm jungler that you've got right there. So after all, there's still a wide possibility of picking other champions for him that will make it work. But maybe assassins are just not what he wants.
Yeah, definitely. So that's going to be interesting to see. And I think we're just a couple of seconds away from jumping into the picks and bans here between Impact Gaming and Supernova. Also talk. And I just hear from the production that it's just 1 minute more to go. So let's get pumped up. Spread some love for those teams. Spread some love for Impact Gaming and Supernova. Just let them know that you're out there supporting them. It always helps if you're a player and you're up for an important match. Seeing some of that support maybe gives you that last little bit of motivation that you need in order to grab a victory here. And Impact Gaming, we told you, they got a lot on the line here because they have to prove that the Italian teams are still good teams in League of Legends. And there we are going into the ban. Impact Gaming, they will make the first one. And it's going to be an Elise ban. Also something that we haven't experienced in the last 2 days. We've seen a lot of jungle bans, but Elise was always left open.
Yeah, that Elise always left open definitely was a thing, but definitely also was a thing possibly because it's not so easy of a champion to master. After all, in Group A, we did get to see a lot of opportunities in which people were missing cocoons. But just take a look at how Impact are focusing the jungle already. It's Elise and Graves banned right off the bat. Yeah, Fiora from the other side, possibly aiming at Impact's top laner. And what's interesting for me to see is that Impact's top laner should be a Polish person. Other than that, it's a fully Italian team with just a Polish top laner. So, interesting to see that.
Yeah, we see the next bans coming in. So, Impact for now banning Graves and Talia as well. Supernova here picking that Ashe out.
All right, and looking for some more scores from Impact Gaming. These guys have tied with Outplayed just yesterday, actually. If I'm not mistaken, if it's not a different year. And just a couple of weeks ago, they played against TES that we will get to see tomorrow, and they also tied up with them. So yeah, there are definitely some outcomes that could tell us a little bit. But if they tied with Outplayed, there is a little possibility that Impact will be much weaker than Supernova, and that's something that I don't want to see. Ivern is picked up by them right off the bat, banning Talia. Not sure why, but going for the Elise and Graves, definitely a good idea from them. Ashe and Nunu then banned from Supernova, aiming at them. AD carry is something that we did not see for quite a bit of time. There even have been some Jhin bans in Group A, which were pretty questionable. Jhin has not been picked ever since, even if I'm not mistaken, so he's not been picked yesterday at all. But it's still a possibility when there are some bans in that champion finally. But then you've still got the Lucian, you've still got the standard Caitlyn, of course, that everybody's gonna go for. And I'm looking forward to somebody going for the Ezreal. Ezreal is always that neutral kind of the champion that he's never too bad. He's never extremely strong. But if you've got a player that can actually execute the Ezreal well enough, that could make you the game. Like the best of the best AD carries, they can make Ezreal really spectacular. While the others, when they pick him, it seems completely useless. So it's another champion, just like I was talking about the jungle about Lee Sin. That when you put enough skill into it, no matter what time, no matter what meta it is, it can do a lot.
And once again, we see Supernova coming up here with two champions that are possible to support, but Karma probably going into the mid lane again, so maybe taking the same approach like ESG here. On the other hand, we have a Caitlyn being picked for Impact Gaming. And the third pick is going to be an Orianna for the mid lane. So far, looking very stable there.
So next up is gonna be the series of bans again that we're not gonna get to see. But no, actually, going for the Varus is something that I like very much. And once again, it's the Varus Lulu that we did get to see yesterday, and I was talking about how good it was. The Supernova, just starting to like them even more. Even before the match, I thought that they're a little bit of a favorite in here, and with this kind of team come this far, I'm quite happy to see that. But it's going to be Karma versus Orianna in the middle lane, and as I mentioned, we've not seen a an impactful, so to speak. I don't want to say a good, but an impactful Orianna this far. We've not seen some huge shockwaves, that change the fights. It's actually hard to say if we've seen anything like that. We were always counting on the Thresh to get a good hook to turn it all around. We had a Nautilus just a while back. We had all of these Orianas in the matches. So I feel like many a time a lot of situations are wasted by the teams that we're not seeing those big plays. Which takes me back to what I've been saying yesterday. Everything is just so simple. There's nobody with really deep of a game plan walking into this tournament.
Yeah, also talking about the mid lane, so the only champion to, or let's make it two champions that are really impressed in the mid lane so far have been LeBlanc and Syndra. So we're still waiting for that one performance maybe out of that Orianna or also Karma to really surprise us here and to show something that's out of the standard. But for now, it's also going to be interesting to see what are those teams going to go for in the top lane. Supernova, they've been banning that Fiora. We've seen some good Fiora play by Doran's Alpha on day one. They've been split pushing very, very well and really putting on some pressure with that Fiora. So this is something we might not see in that game. Still, what's open for the top lane? We might see a Gaio, but they've also not really been that good for us to see. What else is open? We might also maybe see a Nautilus again, but also that was not pretty good. And now we see a Sichuani being picked here. So a very, very strong jungler for Supernova.
Impact, they also in official matches played some Zion or Khan, so maybe that's a possibility later on in the group since we already see that Caitlyn. And probably Rakan is not going to be taken without Zaya, so we're expecting a different support right here. But Sejuani, definitely interesting of a pick on Supernova's side. And yeah, as I mentioned, I'm taking a look at some scorelines and some matches of Impacts from just a week back, from even just a couple of days back, and I did see some more interesting stuff that they bring out right here. Just it seems like a lot of teams maybe are too afraid to experiment in here, and they're just going for the standard meta. But very little teams have these distinctive play styles, their own ideas. That Lucian in the middle, the Zyra Khan in the bottom lane that we'd seen. Some new top laners, maybe the digital paradoxes, Gragas in the jungle. Just nobody takes that kind of approach in here. Supernova are going to go for the Sejuani in the jungle, and that's something that I'm really fond of seeing. And then a Karma in the middle lane with Varus also being supported by Lulu. I can definitely see that working.
Yeah, definitely. Right now, I'm struggling a little bit to get the in-game footage here. I don't know what's it for you, but we might face some technical difficulties here.
Well, for now, probably still a little bit of that delay after the picks and bans is left, and that's why we are waiting. So, yeah, that's what we're seeing. Tamkinch, Galio, Oriana, Caitlyn, and Ivern. Once again, we're going to get to see the Tamkinch support, though this time we don't have the Nautilus and Karma stacked on top of it, so no doubts about it, definitely. And once again, it's going to be a Tamkinch alongside with Caitlyn. This time, like, both of the teams did not decide to commit fully into one style. Like last time, you had that Nautilus, you had that Karma, you had that Tamkinch in one team, but the Caitlyn didn't really do a lot, and the Kazakhs didn't want to do a lot. So they ended up with no damage. Right here, I don't think it's going to be a problem because there's always going to be enough people to provide that damage. At least that's what I think. And well, let's see how it'll all go. The Kled turned out to be really dangerous on Group B, if I'm not mistaken, for one match, but on the other was a big disappointment. So that can also be a hit or miss. And really looking forwards to see the top laner of Impact Gaming perform, because this guy seems to show a lot of flexibility in terms of the champions that he picks, because he's played a little bit of Khaled himself in the top lane. He's playing a little bit of Fiora. Even decided to pick a Renekton quite a while back, actually just 5 days ago. So yeah, this guy can actually play a wide range of champions, including also a Fizz in the top. But right now he decides to go for the, as I said, the standard Galio. Just everybody wants to go Galio. Everybody wants to go the Graves into the jungle, Lee Sin or Elise. No big experimenting, and now it's finally maybe a time for Supernova to prove that it's better to go just for your comfort rather than the meta. Well then, the beginning of the game with a little bit of intensity, and I mean there are some pings, there are some wards placed from both the sides on the blue buffs. We've got a Supernova's ward on the blue buff of Impact Gaming side, and Impact Gaming have that ward on the blue buff on the enemy team's side too. Right now, I'm definitely going to be looking a lot at the Sejuani, and already it's going to be the Ivern coming into the game. So of course he's going to try to steal the blue buff. For the moment though, Supernova still even have the red buff up, so there is a possibility to read through that. There is a little possibility that Monkeys is going to rotate over to the blue buff of the enemy team and try to steal that himself. But not sure if he's going to have a good enough base. Many times I've seen the Ivern just come a second or 2 seconds before the enemy jungler managed to catch up. So there's a possibility he's going to be a little bit quicker on that rotation. But it seems like Sejuani is going to be the first one on the blue buff. Now the question, in that direct fight, what are we going to experience? Sejuani just decides to fall back after possibly spotting out that Ivern in the vicinity. He was waiting on the walls. And that is a nice 3 buff route for Ivern. So already a little bit of a win for Impact Gaming, but that's just how you play Ivern. It's not a huge success that they managed to get it off. It would be a failure if they didn't. Ivern decides to go to the top lane to face off against Khaled possibly. Then he just wraps around and will go back straight through the Rift's Cutler that Sejuani just got down. So it's always a little bit of important, valuable info for the Danish team. Though, as I mentioned, like Impact Gaming, taking a look at some of their results, they're playing in the Italian league, facing off against these Italian teams on the daily basis. They have the Polish top laner. He's also playing in Polish leagues at the same time. So this guy, I mean, he's got his hands full of work because looking at his fan page, he's tossing in screenshots from the Italian league, screenshots from the Polish tournaments, and all that stuff. So he's just probably playing 24/7. While for Supernova, there's not much of info I can find on the matches, on the leagues they're participating in. They only have some matches against all the other Danish teams, and what a first blood right here! Supernova making a crucial mistake right here, and Unlucky Duke trying to protect his Ivor and actually loses his life, and there's still a chance for Notorious Ale to bring down that Ivor. That would be so bad. Oh man, him surviving is crucial to the success of his team, but he's still gonna get kicked off by Monkeys from behind, and nobody's gonna be able to catch him. I don't believe that. Even the Command Dissidents could come in for the slow, but Oriana just does not have that shockwave just yet to displace him. And wow, great play from Supernova, but I feel like it's all been a big mistake. One big mistake from Impact Gaming. So here we are back to the passive phase of that game, but already with Varus with 1 kill, 1 assist, with Sejuani showing that she can do a little bit, even not getting that third buff, but still being so far ahead from the Ivern after getting that kill. Now my question is, did she get any buffs? I believe it's way too late to get the buffs off of that, but you can never be sure. Anyway, though, she's still behind. Okay, that's a double buff on her. So, yeah, she did get these buffs. And she's still 1 level behind, nevertheless. So, it's a little bit of danger. But 1 successful gank is already there. While Ivan will still have to work around it. He showed up in the top lane and wasn't able to do anything out there. Now forced his support into saving him, thus sacrificing that support and also dying himself and giving the buffs over to the other side. So he got the 3 buff route, but he completely broke it by not really taking the buffs away at all from the enemy. And it's getting really complicated. It's not just a small thing. It really is gotta be a bad thing for Impact Gaming right here. These guys falling behind so early will be problematic, and with the Karma, with the Lulu in the team, you already know there's going to be a lot of focus around the Varus. And with the Varus not even having to use his flash, still being quite okay with the summoner spells around the bot lane out there, there's no risk of him dying. He's ahead in the experience, he's ahead in the gold, he's ahead in farm even still, even though he had to go through the fight. That Caitlyn survived, so she could do whatever she wanted during that time. He's ahead by 15. The Bilgewater Cutlass is there, up against just the Cole and Dagger. So still no damage at all on the side of the blue team on the bottom lane. And additionally, the shield's coming in from Lulu, so he can do whatever he wants. He can just bully the enemy team. He can make that advantage in CS bigger and bigger. And Sejuani's still walking around the bottom lane. The first dragon is going to be a Mountain Drake, which is also making it much more important than in the previous game where we'd seen 3 Ocean Drakes and a Cloud Drake. So a little bit of a waste of time, some people would say. But right here, making it a Mountain Drake with Supernova having quite good tempo from the very beginning, there is a chance for them to start breaking down these turrets very quickly, taking control of the map very quickly, and that could lead to another 20-minute Baron. Though Ivern really wants to make his way towards that red buff real quickly. They do not see them on the ward, but they do actually realize that something's wrong right here, so Chikisimo is not going to risk it, and he's okay. But the red buff is going to be important. Sejuani does not intend to give up any more buffs at all. And well, she was able to take it back through killing Ivern last time. This time they're risking a little bit too much. They realize that when the blue buff comes back to life, it's actually a good idea to take it. At least it's going to be the one that he has. And yeah, Galio with the red buff on the top lane. I could just see him taking it away after Ivern left it for him. This could turn the tides a little bit because the top lane is really close. So I'm looking forward to see how well Kled is gonna handle it. Man. Actually, after once again a 3 buff rotation, Chikisimo is just gonna go back to base. Same actually goes for Galio. QQQ, YQQQ is going to go back to base after securing the red buff, so he's not using it too well. And actually, I think that it's great timing on the side of Kled, just going back to base, allowing himself to lose just a couple of creeps in order to not be bullied at all by the enemy player, and thus also wasting a little bit of that Galio's time. Both top laners have their teleports nearly, we can already say, because Kled's just 5 to 10 seconds away from having it back at cooldown. And there's also a teleport available for the mid laner of Supernova, so they have a little bit of an advantage in that form. The question is, though, does Karma want to leave the lane? Up against Orianna, who's the queen of CS, he's doing very well. He's completely even right there, so he's not losing anything. That's quite fine. And there's a little bit of a gank in the top lane, though Galio completely outplaced him going in from the other side. He's going to still jump away. There's the Karma. He flashes that, but he's going to get rooted by Karma. But first of all, the stun comes in from Sejuani's ultimate. And now it's going to be hard to run away, but he tries to jump away. And that's a good ultimate. Way to safety. And a lot was wasted, I feel like, in that top lane by Supernova. It was an ultimate from Sejuani. It was a flash from Karma. Well, of course, he also used the flash, but then he just used a simple ultimate to get away from there. And I feel like it must have annoyed Supernova a little bit. It was a lot of resources put into that. Now, they want to try and go down to the lower jungle, where they see Orianna alongside with Ivern, taking care of the Rift Cutler. But just guaranteeing themselves that little bit of vision, they make sure that the dragon is not going to be attempted. And it's already the 11th minute, and the first Drake was not even approached. Which raises the question, when will the Rig team actually start getting interested in it? Because for me, it's a very tasty target. But there's still the doubts if they can do that against the Ivern, who this far is controlling the jungle quite well. Now, once again, Galio with a little bit of trouble in the top lane, but it actually is Kled who's having the big trouble, who's going to be close to dying. But good flash, and stopping up against that wall just makes you 100% sure you're going to hit it, because it's an easy flash to not hit. It's an easy flash to miss, and that always not only looks embarrassing, but probably leads you to your death. And it is a bad thing in general. So 20 CS advantage in the bottom lane, that's what we see the most. In the mid lane's quite close, in the jungle's quite close. Though with the Ivern, I'm kind of surprised that Sejuani has not only the gank advantage, but also the CS advantage. So she's behind in buffs, so the amount of these little kills does not matter, but most of them were grand for Chikisimo. Now he tried to steal away the Raptors, but good timing from Sejuani. That's actually going to be a great shockwave straight into the turret once again. So that Karma loses a ton of health, and then she's completely confused. When Taumkench uses his ultimate, she walks 2 steps back into the range of not only Orianna, but also into the range of Taumkench, which makes me wonder why. But anyway, it's definitely not a bad situation for Supernova in here. It's just IG trying to burrow out of the problems they got into. Oh, a missed chain of corruption. Already used up wild growth. That's a little bit wasted of an opportunity in the bot lane. With a teleport coming through, could be really dangerous. It's a double teleport actually. Marcus was not expecting that. Real low at health from that Sejuani in just no time. But the acquired taste is already disappearing, so there's not going to be an additional stun from Taumkench. And now jumping in is Kled. He appears out of nowhere, and that's a good ultimate from Galio. 2 knock-ups. Also eliminated Varus for a little bit longer in that fight, but he still was able to pitch in Get a 4-man assist on that kill from Karma. Amazing command attack from Oriana to just attack as many people as possible, but it still does not save him from dying. It just gives them 1 kill, and here maybe Skarl's gonna run away, but Clyde will stay alive. And also, while Skarl runs away, you lose the aggro of the turret, so save them a little bit more HP. Now that turret in the bottom lane is gonna fall, and this is the first structure taken by Supernova, actually, so something that they lacked a little bit, but with that structure they will be able to take care of the dragon at the same time. So as I mentioned, I was just waiting for them to finally reach out for the mountain drake. It was important to do so. Now they can do it very cleanly. They don't have to worry about anything. Nobody's gonna catch them now. And a victorious team fight, losing 1 person, not bad at all. But still, it isn't going to be a major advantage that they're building up right here. It's still definitely not over. And now in the CS, it seems like Varus will be coming up even more on top. The quicker teleport towards the bottom lane from Oriana alongside with Galio, actually. But she still manages to maintain the advantage right there in the middle. Of course, that's Oriana for you. A quick attack on towards the Varus, but coming in from behind is a Lulu. But then the teleport from Tamkench and also Ivern showing up is going to be a death on the side of the AD carry of Supernova. A very important member of the team. Victorious Ale is going to go down with a team that centers around him. Him being the biggest damage dealer, it's quite a big blow, though not so huge. After all, just look at how Caitlyn is still behind. He's got a Blade of the Rune King, Zeal, and 2 daggers already. He didn't finish the boots though, but on the other side there's a BF Sword pickaxe, so just still going for the 1 big item, still holding onto the coal and the Berserker's threads. Oh, the blue buff is going to be taken. A double buff that is for Caitlyn. So, yeah, the team is trying to boost him up as much as possible. Just giving him as many resources as they have in order to make him useful, more useful. Make him into a person that they really need. Someone that can counter, someone that can play against that Varus. But I'm not sure if it is going to be enough. Anyway, for now, Trust has no flash, no heal, while on the other hand, Notorious Ale is a little bit, actually has pretty much the same cooldown on that heal, but he's got the flash still available. Even when he got killed in the top lane, he did not panic. It was 1v3, he knew he was dead. So he did not use a very important summoner spell out there, and that's also something that I'm glad to see. Looking at the gold difference between the particular players right now in the jungle, 1,000 more gold in favor of the Ivern. That's a ton, a bunch. But at the top lane, Kled is actually winning by 700. In the bottom lane, of course, it's got to be a crushing difference of 900 gold in favor of Varus. But this 1 death on his side probably made it a little bit smaller. He probably lost a little bit of creeps on that, and it would have been more than 1,000 instead of just 900. But alright, now the call is finished by Caitlyn, so possibly we're going to see a little bit more of a revolution in her build the moment she recalls now, and it's going to be nice to see, because this is the breaking point. Right now, IG actually have to start acting. Just take a look at the overall gold. It's 28,000 to 27.7. It's 300 gold difference is nothing at all. So it's the time to shine for Impact Gaming. They're not out of this game yet by far. They've lost a couple of objectives, 1 structure, but they also got 1 turret in the top lane, so they definitely can be proud of themselves this far. There's the 3 stacks of Acquired Taste once again, and that's a flash burned by Varus. He also is exhausted, so he's not going to be able to finish off the unlucky Duke. And only the support already doing so much damage. And the Ivern is going to flash in, but the teleport's coming through, and the Wild Growth is still there. And that's going to be an Ivern completely sacrificing himself. The exhaust was already used up a while earlier, so no idea what he thought. And the heal comes back up. So Notorious Ale can definitely still stay in here. Now Duke is really in danger of losing his life. And in return, of course, they take the turret. That's what matters the most. The structures, the towers. Now, in the bottom lane, Galio is recalling, but he's gonna have the home guard upgrade. He's gonna have the teleport ready, so he might be trying to jump on the back of the enemy team, but that's not happening. And they're taking care of the Rift Herald, and it's just 1 minute 30 before it despawns. So it's the best possible timing. It's like the most right timing. Right now, it's really risky to go ahead and contest it for Impact Gaming, because if they lose anybody out there, the death timers are quite extended now. Plus, with the Rift Herald going to have Supernova, would be a huge push. And additionally, they don't even have the vision on it. So, yeah, there we go. Orianna, though, still getting an even bigger advantage in the mid lane. So, something has to be done about that. Ivern actually disappointed to see that there's no buff waiting for him. And that's already something. If the Ivern cannot consistently complete his jungling route, he's going to be a little bit annoyed. That's his biggest strength already taken away from him. And the buffs both indeed are dead on the side of Supernova, so they did sweep through the jungle quite right. The 20th minute mark is just upon us, and with that, another Drake is going to be spawning. Don't really care about the Baron just yet. The game is way too close to go for that. And nobody's really going to be able to tank it up with still being able to handle the enemy team. But another turret is taken by Supernova, and just like that, they do get that gold lead going. And Drake spawns in 15 seconds. They already take care of that. A Rift Scuttler is there. It's going to be another Mountain Drake, so extremely valuable. And Galio in the vicinity. Sejuani, though, is yet to join the fray. So Supernova's jungler is really far away from that. But then just take a look at the Ivern and Orianna. They're getting their blue buff, and it's not a good timing at all. And even if Galio or Tamkench interfere, I think that the Supernova lineup knows about everything, knows about the positions of the enemy team because of the vision coverage that they had pretty well placed in the enemy jungle. So they saw the blue buff, they saw all the route that the enemies were coming from. Right now, Notorious Hell wants to get a little bit of trouble, but there's no exhaust to cut him off, and Galio's going to be completely annihilated by that. Orianna has to jump away from the team fight with still everybody alive on Supernova's lineup. Still half HP, now gone instantly. Good combo from DTL, but a little bit late, I feel, because he only managed to eliminate the AD carry of the enemy team without Notorious Halo with very low HP bars. The red team heads over to the Baron pit, and I don't know if it's a good idea. No, they decide not to. They're just going to try to push down the top lane. But Notorious Ale, nobody with an exhaust was on him. Galio did not manage to get his ult off because he was already dead. You can see how dangerous that AD carry is. He's always going to get the wild growth. He's always going to get the shields from Karma. Plus, you've got a Sejuani who can control the team fight so much. You've got massive slows. You can even stun multiple enemies with the ultimate. That is way too bad for IG. And we're not able to defend themselves against that at all. Now, this is the gold lead that Supernova were looking for quite a bit of time, though it's still about 4,000. It's not a massacre. It's not the end of the game yet, but Supernova were kind of in the lead. They had the momentum going. You could feel that in the air. They were the ones leading the charge right here. And now they actually won a very big team fight that matters a lot. They got some more structures of it. But IG are not staying behind. They also had a turret in the middle lane. These guys are working. I can definitely see that. So it can still be quite even. And actually, Varus held on to that Rift Herald for so long. Now he uses it in the middle lane. And it could help get them the 5th turret. And that's going to be so important. But they don't actually secure it just yet. But half of the HP is gone, of course. 108 and Kled in the top lane. Really happy about that, I've got to say. 3 deaths and Varus already. He's supposed to be the main carry of the team. And yeah, he's got the most kills. He's got the 6 assists right there. But he's also got the most deaths. But that's very normal. Everybody's focusing him. Everybody's afraid of him. And when, as you could see in the previous team fight, only he dies and the entirety of the rest of the team is still able to survive and finish the rest off. It's cool. It's all good. Even Alulu got a double kill in that previous team fight. Ardent Sensor also ready on there. Actually, also Ardent Sensor bought by their mid laner, and it's something that surprised me a little bit. So they indeed are very much focusing on that AD carry, even sacrificing their own damage items, just to provide as much attack speed for their AD carry, that's Notorious Ale. So top lane, a little bit of farm for Karma. That's gladly going to be taken in. There's a needlessly large rod. There's a blasting one. Still a Doran's ring to be replaced. So definitely we could see some spike from that Karma in a little bit of time, since still she doesn't really have a lot of gold in her pockets at the moment. But who's got that gold is Kled, 2.2 thousand, and he's still staying in LA, so he'll get a lot more. And overall, there is no big lead for the blue team. Varus, though, in the bottom lane, now stretching it over to 2,000 gold. It's already going to become a big item of a difference. Both of them, of course, with the Runon's Hurricane. One of them has the Blade of the Ruined King, the other Infinity Edge. But then you've also got a Hex Drinker and the Mallet from Varus. While Caitlyn only has that tiny little dagger to compensate. So that's the 2,000 gold difference you see there, and I don't think it's gonna get much smaller. You actually had a bigger CS advantage in favor of Varus already in this game. It went to like 40 to 50. Now it's only 30, and you can see how big the difference is. So 8 kills discrepancy right here. And still, of course, the buffs are going to be the main focus of both the teams, as Ivern wants to rack up as many of them as possible. In the meantime, the enemy team is going to try to protect themselves from it and maybe even steal it away, since they already have so much map control. They took out 2 inner turrets. They should have control of the entirety of that upper blue jungle. While in the meantime, it's still possible for Impact Gaming to take their blue buff. So they could be a little bit more happy with it, I guess, but they're taking care of the Baron. It's going to go down so quickly. The enemy team realizes what's going on, but before they get there, it's already gone. Now, still full HP on nearly everybody on the lineup of the red team. There is the shockwave, but first of all, the combo didn't hit him. It actually took half HP off the Karma, or even more, but it doesn't matter at all if the Varus is still untouched. Once again, just getting shielded more and more by the Lulu, boosting his attack speed. He's sending out all the damage, and he's got just 1 kill this far, but it's just gonna get worse and worse for the blue team. Tamkane's running away with the Ivern. They will survive, but they're both low in health. There's nothing to tank up the turret, but with the Baron buff, the minions that will arrive shortly will surely allow them to take the inhibitor already. There's also a cannon minion, so everything that they need in here. And soon, Duke and Chikissimo are going to come back. Now, are they going to fight now? That they just fall back, just the same as the enemy team. And a red team taking the Baron without losing any HP. Then winning a team fight and being able to find an inhibitor for themselves are more than happy. The only guy that died on their team was Sejuani, who is pretty important for the team fights, but well, as you can see, even without her, they were able to win the team fight. But most of all, you see the 3 deaths on Varus. It's the most deaths on the lineup of Supernova. And he should have a lot more deaths, because with him staying alive, there's nothing IG can do. Orianna goes for the command attack and command dissonance, then hits him with the shockwave, but only the shockwave hits the right target. Only Varus was the most important in here. With the Karma still chasing around, Orianna could probably go for an even 1v1 in there and possibly still win the fight. But with Varus going up against her, him being able to strafe around the abilities so much and still getting boosted by the Lulu, having so much attack speed, so much attack damage, no, you cannot do much against him, and he's got the Chain of Corruption. So we'll see if there's an engage coming up from him right now in the bottom lane. Notorious Hale could definitely get a good ultimate off right now, and he's going to get the Tamkens rooted in, and then that's going to follow up towards all 3 members of the enemy team coming up. Ivern, I think he made a little bit of a mistake when walking into that, and he's going to be, well, Sejuani this time alive in the team fight, and you can see how much She's already doing. The Galio's going to jump away, but just to jump in straight into the virus, that's another mistake that they made. Coming in from behind is the Karma. She misses the Q, which looked a little bit hilarious, but the kill still goes through. And the teleport towards the base. The Nexus turrets are already falling, and these will be taken by Supernova. So Supernova will be the victors of this match. It is a little bit extended in my opinion because it could have been finished even earlier. But at the end of the day, they're going to be happy with the victory. And we have our winners match and the losers match already. So it's going to be Gamemiser versus Supernova and Impact Gaming versus Euronics Gaming. And I think that both of these matches should be quite close. So I can't wait to see them.